Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be focusing on planting some annuals in shady spots. We've got 3 different areas near the house that I usually plant annuals in, and I'm excited for it. And it's supposed to be 95 today, so working in the shade I think is the way to go. So before I even go to the first location, these are the plants we're going to be focusing on for this spot, and I'm so excited about this mix. We've got the Sedona Sunset Color Blaze Coleus. And the thing I love about this one is that it goes really well with like warm pinks, like that coral pink, which this is the tropical shades. Impatient right here looks nothing like the tag. It's way more pink. This one makes it look like it's orange, but I think this is such a beautiful blend. But I love that this one takes you into fall because it has that sort of autumn look to it, and it's just a versatile one. And then we've got a few plants right here that we're going to be popping in a container that's near where these other 2 are going to go. We've got the Nonstop Joy Mocha White Begonia. These are a tuberous begonia, and I think that their blooms are beautiful and the foliage is beautiful. We've got a Queen Tut right here, 12 to 24 inches, I think. No, 18 to 24 inches tall and about that wide. Just a really beautiful, clean centerpiece, and it stays a little bit more compact, and I love that firework texture. And then we've also got some Patricia Ivy, which I would never plant in the ground, but in a container, yes. When we moved into this house, they had a huge patch of English ivy in one of the flower beds, and I'm still battling that plant, trying to get it out. Right in front of the house, this is our first location. It's not a big area, but I usually like to keep this spot right in front of these limelight hydrangeas open. So I was thinking we could pop a layer of the Sedona Sunset Coleus to bring a beautiful just pop of saturated color. And then no fighting, kitties. Douglas, Russell. Hey, okay, let's go. Come on, let's go. Anyway, Coleus, and then the Impatiens in front. I think that's going to be a beautiful look. And then this is the container we're going to plant. I almost feel bad for popping those violas out, but now that we're getting so hot, those violas will shrivel up pretty quickly. I'm not even sure I planted this container last year. I think these seeded themselves in here 2 years ago. Soil level has sunk quite a lot. I brought a bag of soil to fix that. So I think this area is going to go really quick. Let's go take a look at the other 2 areas though before we get started. And I think what I'll do is just load up the gator for each individual area as we go. This right here is the second spot right underneath the golden rain tree. I just absolutely adore this view. Oh, looking through, you can see the container we just planted up right there and the Hartley in the background. Of course, you can't forget about the cozy coop. Samantha loves that car. Anyway, we spent a lot of time out here on this patio, and this is a really interesting flower bed because morning sun comes in from this side. You can see we're in the morning right now, and then right at the very end of the day, because the canopy comes out quite far, but not far enough to shade it at the very end of the day when the sun is at its most intense. So this area right here, if I plant something that's even, oh, I don't know, if I plant something that's shade right there, it fries. I've tried it. So it has to be something that's versatile. So it's one of those situations where Color Blaze Coleus, they can do sun or shade. Surefire begonias do really well. Impatiens say they can do part shade. I've got another color that I would love to incorporate, but maybe we can do that in the front side of this bed and kind of build out to things that can handle more sun. So we'll get to that in a little bit. And location number 3. Right here, a pretty shady area most of the time, right underneath this beautiful maple tree. You can see that this is kind of by our back kitchen entrance. And a few years ago, I planted a ton of daffodils in this space. They bloomed beautifully that first spring because, of course, the bulbs were fresh and they were all charged up with energy. But this space does not receive enough sun to charge the bulb up to bloom the next season. I mean, some of them bloom, so I hate to pull them out. So we're gonna do a little cleanup first. We're gonna clean up all the foliage and then we'll come through and probably just pack this out with Coleus, which is what we did last year, and I really enjoyed it. So overall, I think today's gonna be mostly a Coleus day, which is fine by me. I think it's gonna be so pretty. Supplies wise, I have my 3-inch Laura Edition auger right here. It's what I use to make all my holes. I've got my kneeling pad and my fertilizer. I think we're good to go. So let's get this first space planted and then we'll take a look. Oh, you guys, it turned out so pretty. Look at this. Oh, so you can see it's in the sun right now, and I did say it was a shady bed, but it is most of the time. So it's shaded first thing in the morning, and then it gets to mid-morning through like lunchtime sun. And then if we swing here to the left, you can see that there's a huge honey locust tree right above us. So it goes back into the shade in the afternoon. So I'm really hopeful that these impatiens will do okay. They are part shade to shade loving plants, so I'm hoping the part shade portion of them thrives in this spot. And they will get about 10 to 20 inches tall, and they can spread out 10 to 12 inches. So I think we've got them spaced really nicely, and they should be a nice second story layer, or a second layer to the coleus, which can grow, which I don't think it will in this spot because it doesn't get full sun all day, but it can grow upwards of 4-ish feet tall. I'm thinking it's going to stay on the 2 to 3 foot side of things. Is about where I usually see it grow to in this space. So we'll have the beautiful taller layer of limelight hydrangea, then the coleus, then the impatiens. Now the container turned out beautiful, but I did not end up using the ivy because I thought, you know what, there's a lot going on around this container in terms of foliage, and I think it would just make it look messy. So I wanted to keep it clean. I used the queen tut in the center, which will kind of grow out the little trellis thing. And then I used just 5 begonias. I thought about going and grabbing more, but honestly, you don't really see this part of the pot, especially once the hydrangea starts to bloom. So I thought it was more on the wasteful side to continue on all the way around. I just did the visible portion, so starting here and then going around to about there. I think it is gorgeous in there. Oh, I am so pleased with it. So now we'll move on to space number 2, and I'm actually fitting in watering projects in between all of this. So I'm going to probably go water the annuals we planted by the parking area before I go plant up the next shade spot. We do set up drip to all of the areas that we plant with annuals. In fact, I can show you a picture. Paul just sent me a new picture of the area we just planted. He ran 2 new lines of drip, and before he buried them, he likes to trench them underneath the soil because they stay put better. He sent me a picture of where those lines of drip were, so I knew exactly where to plant my annuals. It's so nice. But we usually have to supplement water for the first little bit, even if they have drip, because oftentimes, you know, unless an emitter is right next to the root ball, they have a hard time searching for water in the area. So it's just better for this first week or so to supplement water, and then they can go off on their own. This is the bed I'm talking about right here. Oh, see, it looks like the drip ran. So I might just need to poke around and see where I don't see wet spots. That's a really good indicator as to where we might need extra drip as well. Okay, here in our second location underneath the golden rain tree, I've got a gorgeous mix of plants. First off, look at these 3 coleus together. We've got more of the Sedona. This is Lime Time, which really shines. And then we've got Wicked Witch. And I don't even think you need blooms to have a beautiful flower bed if you've got all of these together. It's just so interesting. But we do have some of the Rocopoco white impatiens. Again, the part shade to shade portion of this bed runs like kind of closer to where we sit. So I thought I would kind of just mass them right in that area and then build our way back with more of the coleus. And then I thought toward the front of the bed where it gets intense late afternoon sun, I would pop these Maverick white geraniums. So we kind of balance the white in the beds, where we'd have the, the white geraniums up front here, the white impatiens toward the back, and then coleus in between. Sounds like a good idea. So I think we'll just get it all laid out, planted, and we'll take a look. I think this is my favorite combination I've ever planted underneath this tree. I don't even know which angle to show you first because it's so pretty from all angles. But you can see toward this side the kind of river of white impatiens. And then I did groups. I didn't, line up all of the same variety of coleus. So there's a little grouping of Wicked Witch and then Lime Thyme. And then the Sedona, though, I did kind of curve around the front because I don't know, I think it really turned out pretty. And then toward the back side, we've got the Lime Thyme because it does stay shadier for longer back there. And then little groups of white geraniums on the front side, which look taller than the coleus at the moment. So the scale's kind of off, but it won't be for long. That coleus will fill in and it will be gorgeous. It already is. It's just such a pretty, kind of peaceful. I mean, there's so much going on, but it's still a peaceful look. What do you think, Russell? Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. And here's a look standing on the brick patio. I also like that we're mirroring a lot of the same color and texture from this area that we recently planted up. There's white, there's coleus, there's the lime green color. It's just very cohesive. Okay, we got to gear up for this last area. I got to go get a pop-up bag so we can have a place to put all the daffodil foliage. This one's going to take me a little bit longer because we have to clean up first. Okay, here we are at location number 3. And I don't have any plants yet because we're going to be all loaded down with daffodil foliage first. So I've got my shrub rake and my kneeling pad and my pop-up bag. Let's get after the cleanup first and then we'll go grab all the rest of our coleus. All cleaned out and we're ready to plant. And this right here is what we are going to be putting in this bed. I was going to do a mix of coleus, but I think that this is El Brido is what this is called. And they get so big and they're so nice and bright. I actually thought that they would show up better than any of the other ones I have. I do still have a few Wicked Witch and the Radiculus, which are beautiful, but they are so dark in color. And I did have some of those in here last year. I did a whole mix of different varieties, and I just kind of took note of the ones that I could see the best. And I noted that Lime Thyme, El Brido, what was the other one? There was another one in here that really showed up beautifully. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've got another spot. We won't plant it today, but underneath the ash tree, sort of in that shade garden area, I think I'd like to add those in there because I've got a spot that's kind of filtered light where I think they might pop. So the El Brido coleus with some tuberous white begonias and wire vine along the edge. So here are the begonias, here's the wire vine. It's a really pretty blend together, I think. I thought it might look neat to tuck the wire vine. It looks like I can't really tuck it here because the soil level's too low behind the stones. But right in here, if we tucked it right along the edge, it could just kind of creep over the top of the stones a little bit and soften that edge. And then we can back it with the tuberous white begonias and then back that with the El Brido coleus. And I'm just going to do my best to spread those coleus through this area. I do have a few hostas that we could pop in here as well, so I might leave some space for those. all done. It looks really pretty. I do have quite a large section that I saved toward the front of the flower bed because I thought, you know, I could plant some lamium in there or some perennial geraniums. Both of those would do really well in this sort of light situation. So anyway, there's lots of different options. But you can see the coleus in there, and really it's only when you walk up closer to the hedge that you see the spot that does not have any plants yet. And this spot I love. It's almost like a giant container. You know, you've got your sides of the container there, you've got your wire vine, kind of your spiller, which is beautiful over the stones. Look at that. That texture is just, oh, I love it. And then the white begonias, which I can't wait till they're all in bloom. I ended them, I just popped one on the other side of this hosta, and I might have to move that because I think it might get a little too much sun on this edge, but we'll see. But I didn't want to put any in here because that's the worst spot for sun. And as we move toward the bird bath over here, there are some silver gumdrop heucheras, which I didn't plant the Albrido coleus up next to it because this is a very cool toned plant and the Albrido is pretty darn warm at the moment. Although in my experience, the Albrido in a shadier location mellows just a tiny bit in color. In more sun, it's very bright. So this whole spot is gorgeous with the heuchera and the white begonias, the wire vine there. There are hostas and hellebores in here. That's a double file viburnum. And then as you turn the corner, it's pretty dang full. We've got autumn frost hosta. There are bleeding hearts, which are done, but the foliage is still here with us. It probably, I don't know, we'll be cutting it back as soon as it starts to brown. And lamb's ear and so on and so forth. And Samantha is stacking cans. That is quite the stack back there. Good job. Ta-da! Oh, yes. Great job.
I made a tall one.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And here's the bed from this angle right here. Wouldn't it be pretty to have a silvery leaf lamium or a purple blooming hardy geranium in here? Something to think about. And you guys, that is going to do it for today's projects. My goodness, we got a lot done. I am so happy with every single area we planted today. I think all the plants are beautiful together. I think that they're all going to love where they're at, except I'm going to keep my eyes on those impatiens up front. Hopefully that spot doesn't get too much light. A little bit of a risk with that one. I think in that sort of situation, you're safest with the surefire begonia, but I don't have any or enough to cover that flower bed. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope maybe it gave you some ideas for some shady areas in your garden. I love shady areas, and we don't have that many of them. And I know one day we will probably be really wishing we had more sun areas. We have so many trees planted and so many of them get big. So we will have a lot more shade hopefully as the years progress, because they're just so fun and so lush looking to me, and I love that. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and we will see you in the next video.